The mud bogger is a different breed of racer. In this brand of motorsport, the lure of big money sponsorship is still just out of reach. But the racing tradition is rich, and in this crowd, individualism is part of the unconventional landscape, because here you run for the love of going fast, and that rebel streak is worn like racing Nomex, helping to shield against what speed may surrender. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the best in NMRO mud racing. Today, it's the four-wheel Jamboree Summer Nationals at the Bloomsburg Fairgrounds in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee, and welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power. We come out of Lima, Ohio, with all the mechanical carnage and head straight to a concrete wall, or a stage, as the case may be here in Bloomsburg. And I have to question, are these NMRO mud racers just a bit gun-shy when they come to this facility? Well, to ask Army Armstrong, apparently they can't afford to be gun-shy.
Living on the edge, Gary Lee, that kind of tells you the caliber of individuals that drive these professional mud vehicles. To make a long story short, basically it's a short philosophy to life. You get in, you sit down, you buckle up, you shut up, and you hang on, because your fame is only going to come not in 15-minute shots, 3.5 seconds at a time. These guys got a little bit of kamikaze in them, Gary. You're going to see what I mean this afternoon. Back to you.
A lot of factors to work with today, Army. The track is oversaturated. It is a mess, but the major concern is that concrete wall there at the stage just off to the right of the right-hand lane. Tom Marsh is at the starting line, and earlier Army had a chance to visit the cockpit of the Intruder.
Gary, we commandeered Tom Marsh's Intruder vehicle to show the folks on the Nashville Network exactly what the working compartment's like on one of these things. Come here, I want to show you something. I think you'd find it interesting. First and foremost, safety. Notice they got a fire bottle here. You pull this pin, you pull this pin, it'll automatically shut it off. You start the vehicle with the start button here. You actually kill the vehicle with this button here. Very simple in the instrumentation. You got a brake on the left foot, just like a car. There's only one gauge. It's an oil pressure gauge. Notice it right here? But the interesting point is right there. The yellow light indicates that the transmission is in neutral. This transmission has reverse, neutral, and direct drive. It's not like a regular car. When you put this vehicle in direct drive, it's like winding up a rubber band on an airplane. The harder you go, the further it goes, the harder it goes. So it's just full, straight engine power. It goes directly to the rear wheels. Now, I want to show you something that's interesting. In order to shut the engine off, you push this button right here, and what that does, that starves the engine for fuel. It leans the engine out. So when a driver goes through, he'll lean the engine out that way, not actually turn it off with a key like you and I would do at home. There is another interesting fact here. Right where my finger is, there used to be a button. It's not a button there anymore. Why am I talking about it? Very simple. The drivers have found by keeping the single transmission like we talked about, the Lenco, with just one drive gear, you can hold on to the steering wheel with both hands. When the button used to be here, it activated a 2-speed transmission, and the driver would actually have to let go of the steering wheel to activate that button. Not a good thing to do when these rides are only 2.5 or 3 seconds long at about 118 to 119 miles an hour. Well, time to go to work. We're going to turn this thing back over to Tom Marsh, and I'm going to get to the high ground. Gary, back to you.
Heck, Army, you look right at home there in the cockpit. There's Tom in the Intruder alongside his Mike Camella in Bonkers. Mike comes out of the Buckeye State of Ohio. He will be in the lane nearest our camera. And to his left, on a very tacky racetrack, Tom Marsh in the Intruder.
These guys do the first two positions, so everybody in the back of the field is watching to see what the track is going to do. Camella broke. Marsh goes through good, but that tacky mud you're talking about, a 313, when we talk tacky mud, what we're meaning is the mud sticks on whatever it touches. It won't blow off. That's why they call it tacky.
Well, Mike Camella is stuck in the mud. Look off to your left. You'll see him break just past the start. And Marsh comes through with that 313. And let's go down trackside now, Army.
Tom, the track just really looked like it was sloppy out there for you.
Yeah, it's really a lot rougher than it looks, Army. I really thought it was going to be a nice, smooth ride, and it didn't turn out that way at all.
Halfway through, you actually took your hand off the steering wheel to kick the visor back up. You just lose sight?
Yeah, it did. It really scared me there for a minute, you know, when you're going that fast and it really starts to kick in and all of a sudden it goes dark. You know, it gets a little scary out there.
So is that what we call blinding speed? We'll come back with more from Bloomsburg.
Hey, Bill.
Welcome back to Bloomsburg, where Ford Trucks present the McCarthy Tire Summer 4-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Nationals. As we go back to the racetrack, far lane, that is Tom Meents in Mud Patrol II, and look at the wing.
Gary, you know, the wing, as they call it in this sport, is designed to put downforce on a vehicle. Sprint cars very successful with it, but in mud racing, I'm not sure it's exactly what you want. You want to lift the car, not push it into the track.
Well, that wing is a trademark of car owner Paul Schaefer. Now, Tom Meents in Mud Patrol II will be competing in 2 vehicles today. Good thing he's not running back-to-back. He's teamed up with his dad to campaign 2 cars in the mud circuit. This should work to Tom's advantage today with the sloppy conditions. Now, bear in mind, Tom Martin also competes in a machine called the Mud Patrols, and hell, we have 3 of those vehicles with the same name patrolling the pits. And there is a look at Brian Maeda, who will be in the near lane, and this is Foolish Pleasure.
Love the names. Foolish Pleasure, Mud Patrol, one with the wing, one without a wing. This sport is going by leaps and bounds. This is why right here.
He lays down a good run.
That wing didn't seem to hurt him one bit. He laid down a straight run, too.
Yeah, 3:154, 3:15 for Tom Meents, and there's Brian Maeda's 3.814. Next up, a guy we've seen win here before in Bloomsburg, Al Ash. But first, let's go trackside and talk with Tom Meents. Army?
A 3.15, it looked like it had a lot of porpoise into it out there.
Yeah, left lane's got like hills underneath where you can't see in the mud, you know, and when you're running down through the mud, there's like little hills there, and you keep, you know, going airborne every time.
Okay, now, will you knock that hill down to make the track better later in the field?
Yeah, it's possible it might get better, but one of the things that, you know, once mud starts getting thrown out of the ruts, there ain't nothing to hook on to, you know.
There's the advantage of having 2 vehicles in the competition.
Yeah, but that wing pushed him down into those mountains he was talking about, Gary.
There's a good look at Living on the Edge, Dan Fuchs' mount. That's the car that Army was standing next to in his open for our program today. And there's a look at Dan Fuchs out of the Illini State, Living on the Edge. And he pulls up against Al Ash. Now, Al had a nasty flip in Lima, made a hard right in the near lane and went on over, laughed about it, but you could tell he was shaken up, but otherwise uninjured. So Al Ash and Dan Fuchs.
Ash is out of Pennsylvania, kind of a home state boy here. Runs good on this track. Not afraid of that wall. You got to remember, in the right lane at the end of the track's a big old wall. We got a good race, Gary.
Oh, it's an excellent. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, Fuchs spins around, slides to a stop. I thought he was going on over. There is his time at 3.28, but I thought for sure he might tuck that right rear and flip her on over.
Check this out.
3.059. Oh, what a great ride for Big Al Ash. Take a look again at how close this is.
Boy, they raced each other out that other end. Big Al is back in town. Check that out. A 3:05. That's awesome, Gary.
Well, let's go back trackside, Army.
The number 305 puts you quick today. That may just hold out for you.
It might. I don't know. The hole's pretty soupy right now. I don't know if it's going to clear out and get more tackier. It might that might happen. It might get slicker yet. I don't know. I hope it holds. We'll see.
Well, that one could be tough to beat as the competition continues here in Bloomsburg. As we take a look at Jeff Tobel in Dirty Deeds. There is a Jeep fiberglass body, and there's a look at Jeff out of Maryland in the Dirty Deeds Jeep. And he'll be pulling alongside Grounds for Divorce, Tom Ball. I love the name of some of these vehicles.
There we go again with those names. Both of these vehicles, as Tom Ball's car comes up out of Bowling Green, Virginia, remind me that this event at Bloomsburg is so big. We get a chance to see a lot of racers we don't get to see. They run on a regional basis, but Bloomsburg seems to be a magnet of all the bad guys, and this is where they show up, and this is why. Check it out, Gary.
The bad guys are good, but hang on. We trouble right there as Ball went over the berm in his Grounds for Divorce. So he is disqualified as he's out there in the mud. He'll have to climb out and get his shoes all muddy now. As we take a look again, a good tight shot. Now, he looks like he's in trouble right from the start.
Yeah, the front tires were cocked just a little bit, and he hooks a rut. That's it. Katie, bar the door. 110 pages of Dear John. We're going out of this thing.
So we'll clean up this mess and come back with more from Bloomsburg as we're living on the edge. Welcome back to Bloomsburg for the 4-Wheel Jamboree Summer Nationals as we return to competition in the mud pit. Some show and shine vehicles there on display. And there is a look at, once again, Tom Meents minus the wing in the second Mud Patrol. And he will take on another familiar face in Mike YOSHA.
You talked earlier about there being 3 Mud Patrols here. Well, Mike YOSHA's car is an old Mud Patrol. You're going to see a real fast run here. There's no love lost between these two guys. And YOSHA would love nothing better to put Meents on the trailer to bump him with the number. 3:05 is a quick time right now. I think Meents will go quicker this time without the wing. That's just my guess. Let's wait and see. And YOSHA, I guarantee, is going to push him out the other end.
Well, the time to beat's a 3:05.9. This could be the best matchup of the afternoon here in Bloomsburg.
Yeah, there's no love lost between these two guys. Both vehicles are almost identical. A lot of wheel speed combinations, both of them. You're going to rock and roll. Bob Seeger says, we'll rock and roll. Yeah, and they did, Gary. Look at this.
Excellent ride for both drivers, but look at Tom Meents. A 3.057. That will put him atop the leaderboard.
Yeah, but check YOSHA out. He turns a good number, 3:078. He was right there with him.
That's good for third of the leaderboard. There's Tom Meents' time, then Al Ash, Mike, Tom Marsh, and Tom Meents. Let's go back trackside, Army.
Tom, a 3:05. That puts you number 1. As a matter of fact, that keeps you in the top 5 with both vehicles.
That's great. The track's really soupy out there. I got about halfway down. I couldn't see anything, so I just flipped it up and went on. There's a while there, I didn't know where I was going.
That's got to be some of the wildest 2 and 3 seconds of racing in the world, especially with the amount of speed and everything, and then the fact you can't see.
I think, you know, the times may not reflect how well you're going because you don't get off the line as good, but once you get going, you're definitely humming.
We had over 70 vehicles here in Pennsylvania this weekend, so let's go back and show you some highlights from earlier in the competition. Sean Kravitsky, a wild ride here.
His vehicle's named 40 cases later. You tell a buddies help him out on that one.
Well, here's a look back now at Shane Back and Brian Harrell. Harrell the near lane, Shane Back the far lane. Very soupy conditions here, but they all have the same mud to contend with. And after this run here, we had a chance to talk to Brian Harrell about track conditions.
That top's just like glass. That water is just making us, it's spinning and it's just, you know, hydroplaning us, just like we're walking on water.
Well, Dan Brown in Mind Games also found the going rough. He gets in trouble right off the start and just drives her down the side of that lane. Now back to racing, where Tom Martin must now contend with that far lane, which has been a good lane so far. Tom Meents has posted the quick number in that left lane. And as we take a look at Tom Martin in the Mud Patrol, and there is Sally BAGDONAS out of Connecticut, the Lady Predator.
Part of a family team. Her husband drives a vehicle that goes by the name of the Predator. What you're going to get a chance to see here, Gary, is the far lane is your traveling pro. This guy goes all over the country. The near lane, we talked about the regional racer. This is where they step up and run side by side. This might be a good parallel to show you what it's all about. George Cash, the starter, waits for both of them to go into the lights.
Ducks. Oh, a good run. Boy, Martin laid down a 3:14.
Man, he had that sucker humming on the big end.
The Lady Predator, not such a great run for Sally at 4.496, but Tom Martin laid down a great ride. As we take a look once again, Martin coming right at you in another Mud Patrol.
Boy, he had a ton of overdrive on that blower. You could hear that sucker whistling on the big end.
And he slams her down in the shutdown area, and let's go trackside and talk to Tom.
Tom, a 3.14, but it looked to me like there's nothing to stick on the starting line. You had to get down the track before you could plant the horsepower.
Yeah, you know, I think I misguessed on the starting line. It was a little better than I thought. I kind of detuned the motor for this run, and it didn't turn to RPM, so that's why we ran a little slow, but I'm happy with the car, handled good.
Another task of mud racing is cleaning up the car after the run. And now we're ready for competition to continue with the S-Kicker. Here's a real wild man, Army. This is Jeremy Finley.
Smiling Jeremy Finley out of West Virginia. This guy would tap dance in a minefield. I'm telling you, he has a philosophy about him. He just goes hard. That's all you can say about him. Same basic setup that the other guys have, except he's cut the top off his 32 Vicky. Who's he going to be going up against?
Well, there's Bill BIBUS out of New Jersey, the Hillside Scrambler. Scrambler in the far lane, and Jeremy in the near lane.
BIBUS is giving away a whole lot of weight right there as Jeremy moves in. This vehicle is almost identical to the 2 Mud Patrols we saw, with the exception they cut the top off. I asked him why. He said, I want to be able to see where I'm going, especially at Bloomsburg. Back to our start.
Nobody can see where they're going today.
Oh, but he went there quick, even if he couldn't see. He's coming across.
Hang on, no, he's off in the other man's shutdown area. A 3.104 for Jeremy. He's taking a shortcut back to the pit area. Wow. He took a real shortcut right across the lane of Bill's. Bill's time of 4.109.
Left turn, Clyde, when he came out of the pit.
Another look coming right at you. Good run, but he had some trouble in the shutdown area. And right there, he's in trouble. Sawing on the steering wheel, climbs on the brakes, gets her woed without getting in too much trouble, despite the fact he's in the wrong shutdown area. Let's go back trackside, Army.
Jeremy, a 3.104 showing the track will hold the horsepower, but what did you find out there other people can't find?
I don't know. I guess I just got lucky. Pit's pretty bad shape right now. I don't think it's going to get no better, that's for sure.
Think that'll keep you in the top 5?
I'd say. It'll have to, probably, if the pit's bad.
You can see how bad the pit is from that shot right there as he has really bounced around. As we go back now to the starting line, Tony Pasillo in Fortified. There is Fortified in the near lane, and FARBOTNIK, Dave FARBOTNIK and Lou Screw over there in the far lane.
Won't believe real good for Botnick. Good run. He throws some mud against the wall. It doesn't stick, though. He only goes a 3.32. You got to go a 3.0 to be a player today, Gary.
Yeah, you got to have one superb run to be at the top of the leaderboard of 4.101 in the near lane. So as the competition continues, we'll take this break and return with more action from Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania on Trucks and Tractor Power. The four-wheel Jamborees feature a host of activities for the entire family. Pick up the latest in aftermarket products while visiting the manufacturer's Midway. And check out how the Chrome and Candy Apple come together at the Show and Shine competition. To find out more about the Special Events Performance Series, call or write the address on your screen. This weekend, we are in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. It's a sunny, humid day as we prepare for our final 2 competitors. And that will be Gary Funk right there in Sweet Thunder.
Now, Gary Funk runs a nitrous-assisted vehicle trying to make more horsepower with the Sweet Thunder. He's out of Pennsylvania. He'll be in the far lane. Ben Nievenhouse comes out of Ontario, making an international event with the Hellraiser. So he came over the Canadian border to try to take back some of these
American dollars.
Yankee dollars, yeah.
Well, he, of course, has the fiberglass Jeep body.
Well, both of them actually run the fiberglass replica of the Jeep body. After a long day of racing, it comes down to the final run. We got a big fire!
Fire in that far lane. Gary Funk in Sweet Thunder, and you can see the engine fire. Okay. Right now, the driver is okay, and he's really taking his time getting out. He is really not in any kind of peril right now.
Well, the drivers wear the full Simpson safety gloves and helmets and so on and so forth, so he knew the fire was contained to the front of the vehicle. I think I still would have been getting out, though, with the fire has a tendency to blow back on you.
Here is a look again. Now watch as he activates the nitrous. He blows it up right there. He drives the shutdown area, stops the vehicle, but makes no effort to climb out.
When he hit the nitrous button, it's like hitting an igniter, literally. Meanwhile, Gary has another problem at the end of the track. He's sitting in the middle, and the fire crews, they're having a water fight across him in the middle.
That's enough.
Hey,
that's
stop,
enough water. Well, as we clean that mess up, here's some more highlights. Bob HEISNER in Hot Tuna turned to 3.243.
He had that little 48 Fiat humming on a big end.
And here's Bill Shifley over the top, taking on Roger Laney in the Paddy Wagon. Paddy Wagon got in trouble here.
Shifley with a long wheelbase seems to be okay. Paddy Wagon climbs the berm on the left side of the track. Whoa.
Bring out the tow rig. One of the strongest Fords in the country, Midnight Magic Dave Ray, not quick enough at 3:37 to make the top 5. Let's go back now and check in with Gary Funk, the aftermath of the fire.
What caused it to ignite like that?
I hit the second stage nitrous button. I think that's when it ignited.
It just could you tell you were in trouble as soon as you hit the button?
Yeah, I could tell. I could feel the heat and everything, and I knew something wasn't right.
Well, it's a good thing he was not wearing some strong cologne. He would have really felt the heat in that one. Let's take a look now at the final standings here in Bloomsburg.